This week on the latest episode of The Big Show, it's all about family. As Dom, Letty, and the Torretto clan begin the journey for their final ride. We'll discuss the Fast and Furious franchise and review the latest installment, Fast 10. Plus, there's an upcoming documentary on the Queen of Disco, Donna Summer, entitled Love to Love You, Donna Summer, and we'll discuss her legendary career and her story. And finally, the 4th Annual LightReel Film Festival returns in several weeks. We'll discuss the festival and reveal some surprises. Well, maybe not now because we had some surprises, but that's another story. We'll have all of that and more on episode 539 of Keeping It Real with FilmGordon. Let's go.
Experience life through the eyes of a true film addict. Keeping it real with FilmGordon.
And welcome to the latest episode of The Big Show, Keeping It Real with FilmGordon. I am Tim Gordon, and I am joined, of course, by my co-host, the man they call Pass the Chuck, Charles Kirkland Jr. Charles, how you doing, brother?
I am so glad to be here. Thank you for having me, Tim.
All right, and also joining us today, and this is rare. I mean, Charles, do you ever remember her being on the show and we can actually get a chance to see the intelligence, the beauty, the strength of Shireen Nicole?
We see that every time.
I'm talking about, does the audience get a chance to see it?
Oh, you know, I think this might be a first. She's been on the show before.
She has been on the show before. Shireen Nicole, how are you?
I'm doing well.
She's killing me right now. This reserved thing. It's just, Shireen is never this reserved. That's why I'm scared. I'm scared. Like, is it okay? Did we do something wrong? What's happening?
Look, I do bits. Shireen does bits.
I think this is being done intentionally today. She's like, you wanted me to be on the show. I want to be on the show. see, you'd have to understand, we know Shireen. So this is very different for Charles and I. We're like, okay, cool. So Shireen, what's going on?
I'm being treated well.
Oh my God.
She did a great character for 1 second.
Oh my God. Stop it. I'm not doing this on purpose, people. I apologize. Shireen, you are real different. I can't wait until our next conversation. I'm like, because I didn't get any prompt that this was going to happen today. So this is all new. This is on the fly. Do we still have you for a small window?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's jump right into it. We were going to talk Fast and Furious. Let's kick this conversation off. We all went to a screening the other night, for an advanced screening, I should say, for the 10th installment in the Fast and Furious franchise. Called Fast X. Shireen, I will start with you because I know we have you for a limited amount of time. Give us your thoughts on what you thought about the film.
Well, I think that for me, I am a Fast and Furious franchise lover. And so I am committed to the franchise. So no matter how over the top it gets, it is highly enjoyable for me. I'm also an anime fan. I'm also a comic book fan. So the fact that the physics are pseudo fantastical and unbelievable does not bother me in the slightest, because it takes real skill to do what this franchise does, to be 10 movies in, and on the 10th film, they have the studio say, can you break your final episodes down from 2 to 3? Can you give us another couple billion? And it's because it's a brilliant franchise. People underestimate what this franchise does. They joke about the fact that it's about family, but the audience feels that. The audience feels the multicultural elements of it that makes us all feel like we're a part of this thing. And that's what makes it work. So they can go to space in whatever type of vehicle they would like. They can swing like Tarzan on a car off of a very thin wire. I'm good with it. they can catch people with cars and no bones get broken, I'm fine. And especially in this Fast X movie where the women got to be outstanding. They were eating men. It was great.
Before we get to you, Charles, can you give me your quote that you wrote for this film? I've been waiting for this for 2 days to have the audience hear this. Go ahead, Shireen.
I've written many quotes on Fast X. Which quote do you mean?
What was the quote you read to me where I was like, I need more clarification, and then you told me I didn't get the quote?
Well, Tim, you don't get a lot of things. It's fine.
That's the Shireen Nicole I know right there. Go ahead.
Everybody's still your friend. That's fine.
Okay, it's the shades. I think it's the shades because normally she doesn't act like this when she doesn't have the shades on. But go ahead, Shireen. No, but seriously, you had a quote that because you called me up and you read me a couple of quotes the other day.
I did not call you up. I'm just saying that's not what it is.
Oh my God. See, I know people at home are going, why is he laughing like that? You really would have to be around and know this young lady. I'm telling you, she's acting up today. This is so let me give people some context for understanding why all this is so funny. Shireen and I are really good friends.
Sometimes.
Oh no, we're always good friends, man. I've learned Shireen she's the bomb, amazing woman, right? And Shireen, I've been trying to get her on the show. Shireen will come like during the pandemic, we would have on the show. She wouldn't turn her camera on or she put pictures up. So we would never see Shireen on screen. So today she's on screen and now she's being her best Southern British, rigid, upright. She put on these huge shades. I mean, it's a beautiful look, but wow. So Shireen, you're really not gonna give me the quote. The one that ends with laughing gas.
I would like to talk about the fact that Tim is upset because Charles and I said that he is not fasting. And here's the thing, guys. You know that in classic hip hop, we have the question known as Illmatic or Stillmatic. And that's how you know if the person is a hip hop head for true.
Are there people that really say Stillmatic though?
Oh,
really?
yeah.
Really?
It's the quality of the question, Tim. At any rate, Fasties, true Fast and Furious fans know that there is one film that if you do not like it, you are not a fan. Now, Tim, of course, talking to Charles and I, Charles backed me up here. He said that number 5 was his favorite, and we said number 5 is everybody's favorite. That's the number 1 Fast film. You ain't telling us nothing. Well, we need to know from you. Okay, go ahead, Charles.
No, you're right. Nothing new by saying Fast 5. Everybody's. My little baby niece says Fast 5 is her favorite. It's because it's got the most action and.
Okay, I was prepared for this. So Shireen and you both know that over the last 24 hours, I've been watching rewatching, I would say, the entire Fast and Furious franchise. I think I left the house, Fast 9 was on, right? So I actually watched 3 for the first time, what is this, 17 years. I hadn't seen that movie in 17 years. And as I shared with Charles, I have a newfound appreciation for 3, right? 3 is more than anything else, is Han's story, right? So you literally watch Han.
No, see, again,
it is. It's not Han's story.
No, and I'm gonna let you embarrass
yourself publicly.
Okay, go ahead. I should have let you go ahead and
It's
put that.
It's the story of the relationship between young Lucas Black, I forget what his character's name was in the film, and Han, right? And how Han in Tokyo, which we find out 3 films later when he makes the move to Tokyo, we see the end results of what happens to Han, or at least what we allege happened to Han at the time. But I thought the film, I mean, when I rewatched it, it fits in. It's a very different film from what I would call the majority of the Fast and Furious franchise. It's away from them, outside of one cameo where you have Vin Diesel who shows up at the very end. there really is not a lot of connected tissue to like the main core of Fast and Furious outside of Han in this film, right? Now, I know that Bow Wow shows up in another couple of films in small, little limited roles. Lucas Black does as well. But it's the one film that's apart from Fast and Furious, telling the story in a different part of the world, focusing on one of the core characters in his relationship with another character and teaching him what they call the drift, you know, getting him ready for a one-on-one battle with DK, the Drift King. So I like the movie. I'm not saying that you're wrong, because I know that as a critic that it's all subjective anyway, like what I like versus what you like. There's no right or wrong to it. I just think that for me, 5, despite the fact that you guys talk about its popularity, is really the film when they changed, you know, the dynamic from streetcar racing to making it more of a heist film or a heist story, which is what it is now. But I can appreciate.
Oh my God.
3.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you now.
need
It's
to
too much.
stop because
I gotta stop
the
you. First of all, the
film was
first
a
film
heist
is
film.
Point Break. The first film is Point Break, literally Point Break. So it is all heist.
Okay.
Secondly, you just went on a long rolling diatribe to tell us what we already knew. And that
You
is
mean tell
you are-
y'all or tell the audience?
tell all of us, the audience,
Oh,
me,
damn. Okay.
Charles, all
Wow.
of us, what we already knew. You are a lovely man. You have an effervescent personality like Sprite. But the one thing that you are not is a fastie, because your understanding of the importance of Tokyo Drift is lacking in the extreme. Charles, take it from here. Thank you.
I refuse to have this discussion again with Tim Gordon, even in the presence of everyone that here on the show, because you can't make a person be a fastie. There's no either you are or you aren't. You either get it or you don't, and it's all right if you
Shane,
don't,
are you
because there
listening
are
to this?
lots of people who
Okay.
don't.
Go ahead. Let's make the audience understand, because there are a lot of people out there that like me. Watch this. There are a lot of people like me out there. So what's so special about Fast 3?
We're not going to deign, but what we will tell you is that when you were talking about this, we're not talking about whether there's a ranking with Fast 3, or it's not even Fast 3. You got me doing it. It's Drift, Tokyo Drift. Tokyo Drift, period. There's no numbers on it.
There was no number.
The thing that you don't understand is this. Tokyo Drift, much like Illmatic versus Stillmatic, we know you've seen the films, you've watched them, you've taken them in like a critic. You can tell us the storyline, right? But if you do not like Tokyo Drift, you are not a fastie. You can still enjoy the franchise. We still like you. We will still, pull up our cups with it. That's fine. But you're not a true fastie. And here's the reason why. Tokyo Drift is the pinnacle film. Tokyo Drift is when we go back in time. It is the start, because fans were so in love with Han. It's not Han's story, but the fans were so in love with that character, and Justin Lin began to come into that mix. That's when we go back in time and we get our Torretto family in its formative days. And then we come forward from that point. You got all of that history and all of that. It's a kind of a, I don't even know what you call it. It's a turning point film. You cannot extract. You ever heard somebody say, The Godfather is one of gangster movies, blah, blah, blah. And you have to tell them, you cannot extract The Godfather from the timeline, because without it, nothing that follows makes sense. That's Drift. Drift is inextricable from the timeline of the Fast and the Furious. And it is the film that starts us on the journey towards what we have today. That is when we go from being a bunch of street kids doing heists, very similar to Point Break, to our multicultural superheroes saving the world multiple times. That's what Drift means.
Charles?
So if you don't understand what she's saying, the whole universe of Fast and Furious turned on Han, on the entrance of his character. When he comes on the screen, the audience gravitated to him in a way that none other character had before. So, it was great. You had Vin Diesel meeting the family, and then you had Brian O'Connor doing his thing in Miami. But when people started falling in love with Han, and Han died at the end, people were like, we need to see more of this guy. We need to know what his connection is, because they built this in, and all of a sudden now there's a connection between him and Dominic. What's this about? And so they said, oh, we're going to refashion this whole franchise, and from just about racing streetcars and steel, because Tokyo Drift was really more about the race than it was about all the heist and things. This was the central theme.
Film.
This was the central theme. Now it was about cars. And so people were like, I need to know more about Han. And so here we go with the whole story. Now is like, we're gonna change from this, just this a Robin Hood band of guys, and give them a purpose. And that was because of Han. And so if we did not have Tokyo Drift, this franchise would be in a different place. It probably would have been dead a long time ago if it wasn't for the Tokyo Drift and the creation of Han as that character.
All right. So we're online with Shireen Nicole from Geek Girl Riot. Shireen, how much more time do you have before we have to let you run?
2 minutes.
Oh, damn. All right. So do you have any other thoughts about the franchise? I'm not going to have you review the film, but any thoughts about the franchise before you depart?
This franchise means a lot to the fandom, and it's because of what I said earlier. It is an inclusive franchise. It shows kind of the regular guys that grew up on the strip becoming heroes, not just the guys, but the guys and the women. They've really introduced some incredible women characters into this whole thing. And it says that with family, with faith, you can do anything. And that is pretty amazing. And they are always going to be there for each other. That loyalty that they have for each other, that knowing that whatever situation you get into in that fast world, somebody is going to come for you. Somebody's going to be there. It's good stuff.
Well, Shireen, first of all, we need to have more Shireen Nicole on the show. As Will Ferrell likes to say, we need more cowbell. We need more Shireen Nicole on the show.
I just want to ring the shame bell. Shame on Tim for not understanding the drill. Shame. Shame.
Shireen, tell people where they can read your content or listen to you on Geek Girl Riot.
Well, you can do a search for Geek Girl Riot and listen to the podcast wherever you prefer, wherever your preference is. If you'd like to read more from us, you can go to Riotous, that is RIOT-US.com, and hear from me and some of my colleagues who understand the drift.
I hate you so much right now.
See, I told you it was a sometimey thing.
Yeah, I know it is. No, I actually love her. It's just a phrase. But Shireen, thank you. I know you got to run because you got some other obligations. I wish we could keep you for 60 minutes. But before you leave, I will just say, you're probably right. I'm not fasting. I mean, because clearly when y'all were explaining this, I was like, okay. I think it's a great franchise. I watch a lot of movies. You're right. I am a film critic, man. So I enjoy the stories. I think they're just overly ridiculous, but they're fun. They're great.
They're supposed to be ridiculous.
They are
They're
ridiculous.
They're super powered car drivers with
ridiculous, man. They should put an exclaimer before every film starts. Please don't try this at home. Don't try one of these stunts at home.
Nobody's going to try any of this. Nobody is stupid enough to try any of this stuff for real. They know that this is a crazy world that we're living in, watching this. Even in the movies, they wanted to call themselves superheroes at one time. We all wanted Roman to just say, yes, we are superheroes. When they were like, are we indestructible? Yeah, you are. You're a superhero.
Yeah, Roman had that moment. He's like, we can't be killed. Like, Roman was like, wait. I was in a shoot and everybody was shooting at me from a 360-degree angle, and I got a hole in my jacket and not in my body. He's like,
we're superheroes.
Right.
We wanted him to say it, but he didn't. He said we're indestructible, but we know what you mean.
Our good friend friend Julian Lytle says that they are anime heroes, and that's probably the best description out there.
That's right.
Well, Queen Shireen, thank you for the time today. Please come back and visit us again on the big show.
Oh, no, Shireen.
You take it. All right, dear. All right, and of course, that was Shireen Nicole, who you saw toward the end reveal her real personality. I don't know, Charles, what was that at the beginning, man? This whole thing here.
Look, I'm telling you, man, I've done bits come on this show, and you always call me extra.
Oh my God.
Shireen Nicole is the queen of bit. That was fantastic. That was fantastic.
Shireen Nicole, for people who don't know, is a superbly talented young lady who literally designed the LightReel Award that we give out now.
She did.
She also designed the logo, the branding. She's a CMO. She is amazingly talented. So when I said that, I'm not being funny. I'm like, she's amazingly talented. So it's also a really close and dear friend of ours. So I'm glad she actually was able to come on today and show her face. That's always a big deal. All right, man. So before we get back to Fast and Furious, man, let's talk a little bit about, we sent the press release out literally this morning for the 4th Annual LightReel Film Festival that Shireen Nicole, who's also the programmer for our talk series, Charles Kirkland, who's my co-host on the show, is actually the programmer for the features category. And then we've got a couple other folks. Adrian Richard Driscoll is the programmer for our VR or 360 section. Christopher Llewellyn Reed, I did put some respect on his name, is our programmer for our documentaries. And we're very, very excited. So we announced today several of the in-person events, because we have some more announcements forthcoming. But what we can reveal now, finally, because we've known for weeks, is that the first night of our festival is June the 8th. The festival runs for 2 days, 48 hours through the 10th. On our first night, our spotlight film is going to be The Blackening from Lionsgate.
Yeah.
So there's information, all that stuff is online. So I'm really excited about the fact that we have this film. Over the course of our 3 years prior, we've always talked about always opening and closing the festival with major studio releases. This is probably one of the better ones. I mean, the more high-profile ones we've had. You've known every year.
I've known every year. And what killed me was when we were doing our coming attractions, and we had a trailer for The Blackening coming attractions. And I so badly want to say, come to the festival. And people just tripped out at that film. So we knew we had something special when we saw the reaction of the group there to just the trailer. So now we can happily announce that we will be showing that film as a spotlight film.
On June the 8th. Yep. The next night, our anniversary film, which I personally curated, this film is from 2003, the 20th anniversary of the Brazilian crime epic, City of God.
Masterpiece.
Oh my God, I'm so excited about showing this to audiences, man. This is, I remember how this movie moved me when it was initially released. Almost 3 generations of a relationship between 2 characters.
Two boys.
Oh my God, man. What a movie City of God is. And the fact that another friend of ours, a friend of the show, and my colleague at WIDA, Travis Hobson, is going to do the intro for us. So I'm very excited about that. As Charles is over there making faces. Wow.
I didn't.
Well, that's
say a word.
That's another long story.
I didn't say a word.
Like we talked about with Shireen, these are all inside baseball stories of life as a critic in the nation's capital. It's very entertaining. So also that night, while City of God is playing, starting at 7:30. City of God starts at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Over at our new festival home, which we are now proud to announce is the Angelica Pop-Up. And let me make sure I get the address right. Is it 550 Penn Street Northeast? Yes, that's the address.
Yeah,
I've
okay.
written it so many
All right.
times. I
Yeah.
know it.
Okay.
So the Angelica is going to be the home of the LightReel Film Festival, and we are very excited to be in the city. Nice venue. Union Market, if you don't live in Washington, D.C., is a really emerging area that is very hip, full of restaurants and eateries and things to do. Our festival is just another thing that is coming to Union Market. So I'm very, very excited to drill down and start to develop and build partnerships that we can actually bring to the festival. Now, the next thing we're going to announce, Charles, I'm really excited about this. I've gone to film festivals around the world, right? I've gone to festivals in Mexico.
Wait a minute, before you go, did you tell them where we were showing the blackening?
No, that's going to be, you can tell them.
Okay, well, because we talked about the Angelica, but when we do our spotlight first film, that is going to happen at a different location, which is the landmark East Street Cinema, which is downtown 555 11th Street.
Correct.
Northeast.
So that's also at 7:00 on Thursday night as well. Right. So, okay. So as I was saying, I've watched films around the world. I've been to film festivals in the Virgin Islands. I've been to film festivals in Mexico. I've been to film festivals a bunch of different places, right? The Sundances, Toronto, Middleburg, all the spots we go to.
Nashville.
And Oxford, Mississippi. I've gone to a lot of festivals, and the only festivals that I've been to that I know have what we're about to announce, I know Sundance did it one year. I think TIFF might have done it one year. And other than that, Charles, do you know if anybody else is doing it?
I know South by did it.
South by did it as well. All right. And that we're talking about is virtual reality, right? Virtual reality, for people at home who don't understand, you have an Oculus, right? I know I have one at the house. I actually asked the question, can I bring my Oculus down and have the films loaded on mine? And I was told, yeah, so I might bring my own Oculus. But we're going to have headsets at something at Angelica in the lobby that we're renaming for this event, the VR Lounge, where we're going to have the VR virtual reality experience. And leading that experience off is going to be a film or documentary from Van Jones, a short called The Messy Truth. The Messy Truth has two different versions, and we're going to show both of them at the festival as part of the VR experience. Winston Duke, who plays M'Baku and Black Panther, stars in the first episode or the first short.
Right.
And Brie Larson, who plays Captain Marvel in the Marvel universe, will star in the second one. I'm really excited, Charles, about the future that we're able to bring this technology to our festival. I think it, along with the fact that our festival is a BIPOC festival, are going to be things that we can continue to develop and grow that will separate us from a lot of the other festivals that take place in this town.
Sounds marvelous to me.
That was a pun. Wow. Wow. You are. Wow. Caught me off guard with that one. Sounds marvelous to me.
Yeah.
Now, we also have more events that are coming, because we still haven't announced the closing night event. And then there may be some additional panels that, as we lead up to the festival, that we will announce. But I want to also thank our returning sponsor, I'm not sure if I'm even pronouncing this correctly, Octifamy, the Office of Film, Television, what is it?
Cable, television, film, and media. Is it right?
Shane works here. What is it pronounced? Octifamy. Okay, no. Shane, what is it? The Office of what?
Cable, television. There you go.
Damn. I love Shane, man. He was able to knock that out without any practice. Oh, nobody can hear him. I'm sorry. I thought everybody could hear you, Shane. Nobody can hear. Can you say it so that people can hear you?
OCTFME, the Office of Cable Television, Film, Music, and Entertainment. Nobody says Oct for me.
Thank you.
What Shane just said. That's what it is. All right. So they're returning as a sponsor. And then we have some additional sponsors. Tans and Nuts is a sponsor. They sponsored the Black Reel Awards. So now they're extending sponsorship to this. We got Kyrie's Cookies, another sponsor. coming on. So we have some really good sponsors in addition to the studio sponsors that we have. So we're very, very excited as it's our first year here in the nation's capital after 3 years out in Columbia, Maryland. Charles, how are you feeling about the festival, man?
I'm tired. That's how I'm feeling, because putting all this together is not easy. It's a lot of work, but I'm excited. I am excited because this is going to be good. This is going to be good.
No, I feel you. I'm doing the same thing, man. I was telling somebody yesterday. I said I felt like the last couple of days have just been hurry up and wait. You put out all this information, and you need people to call you back to give you information, and you're just sitting there like, yeah, yeah.
Today is today the day? Is today the day? No, it's not today.
Let me just also do a quick pivot because FAF, which is the parent company of both the Black Reel Awards, the Black Reel Television Awards, and the LightReel Film Festival. While
you can tell them what FAF stands for, though.
The Foundation for the Augmentation of African Americans in Film.
There you go. All right.
Okay, it's a 501c3 nonprofit. I can give you the tax ID if you need it. But anyway, I was on the phone with one of my board members today because the other thing that's preoccupying a lot of my space and energy, which you are not thinking about at all, is we have a writer's strike right now. And the fact that we have a writer's strike is impacting the 7th annual Black Reel Television Awards. Because it's so ironic because last year when we did the film festival, we had Rob Morgan and Theodore Witcher. Rob Morgan, of course, who's a friend of the show and, brother who's been in Bull and just great actor, right? He and Theodore Witcher, who wrote and directed Love Jones. We were celebrating the 25th anniversary of Love Jones last year. We both had them on. I reached out to a young lady who's a 3-time Peabody Award-winning writer and a 2-time Emmy Award winner. What is her name? Stephanie Philo, to come on and be the person that we would profile this year at the festival. And I've heard crickets. And it dawned on me that it's not about me. She's not disliking me. She's out on the picket lines. They're on strike. So I'm like, we've had some internal conversations and we are closely monitoring it, Charles, because it very well may end before we do the awards in August. It very well may not. But we're going to reach a crucial point where we've got to figure out how we present it because the Tonys have been canceled. I think the Tonys are coming back with a workaround where they're not going to strike in front of the Tonys. Exactly. I know the Peabodys got canceled. I know the MTV
Video Music
Awards were affected. And we have a show coming up, so I'm thinking about that as well. You've got to be sensitive to the needs of those in the industry. And we have a writer's branch and other branches in our voting academy. So we have got to be cognizant of what these people are going through and what they feel. So, Charles, do you have any comment on the writer's strike in week 3 now and how it not just affects them, but affects the universe around them of like the work that we all have to do?
Well, the biggest problem with a writer's strike is that these are hard strikes to settle. And the last couple that we've had have been 100 days or more. Right. So I think with 3 weeks in, we're just hitting the tip of the iceberg of how long this strike could possibly be. And then we got like the SAG community is joining in with the writers. So, I mean, it's really going to be ratcheting up the pressure in Hollywood and other places. Like you said, we're not Hollywood, but I'm sure we're going to be feeling the pressure.
We're Hollywood adjacent because when Hollywood has a cold and sneezes, we feel it here too on the East Coast.
And so to the point where I said a couple of weeks ago, I'm in solidarity with the writers, even though I'm not a member of the guild. I have to be careful too about what I write and what I say as far as we go. So.
Well, I am a member of SAG-AFTRA, man. It's interesting, man. So this is new because I can never remember us being in the situation where we were this affected when we had something coming down the line. But as I said, we will play it by ear. But I agree with you. I do stand in solidarity with the writers, man. The all the money that's to be made in this industry, man, pay the writers, man. You don't have content if you don't have writers. Don't have content.
One of our major mantras is you can't have a good movie without a good story.
Right.
If there's no plot,
it's story. It's all story. So, okay. So, all right. So we're good there. Let us pivot back now. We've got about maybe 25 minutes left in the show. Let's talk a little bit about Fast and Furious, man. All right. So we both agree that you and Shireen have ganged up on me sufficiently that I'm a guy that can watch the Fast and Furious franchise, but unlike when we're talking about The Godfather, because I do get it, because there's certain stories that like are so innate to me. Like if you talk to me, I'm a Godfatherologist. Like I will watch anything, talk to you. I've watched those 3 movies so many times over and over. I'm like, they're ingrained. I watch The Godfather now and I can almost do the lines along with them. I'm like, I've seen it that many times, right? So I totally get that there's an element of this movie that doesn't resonate with me. Like it resonates with me as a critic and I can explain them, but no, I don't feel like the essence of Fast and Furious. We're going to talk a little bit about it in a moment, the latest installment, which I felt like it was the 1970s, man. I was in the theater screaming like, no, they didn't.
Multiple times.
Oh, and you just sat next to me.
I did.
Right? Yeah. It's like, man, ridiculous. The 2 words I kept saying, ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Man, that's ridiculous. But guess what?
The whole time you're going, yes.
Oh, it was so much fun, man. Fast and Furious, and I don't want to really tip my hand, but Fast and Furious franchise is essentially what a movie theater is all about. You literally just grab a big bucket of popcorn, a big thing of candy, and a huge soda and sit there for 2 hours, and I promise you, it's enjoyable. You eat your snack and watch the movie. It works.
Just forget about reality, what's happening in the world. Just sit back, relax, and defy. That's all you got. Just sitting there, just defying. That's all it is.
So I'm talking to Charles and Shireen over the last couple of days as I'm going through this whole marathon, and it dawns on me because I hadn't really watched a lot of these movies. Like I don't think I've ever watched them chronologically before. Watched them in order.
Oh, in order, not chronologically.
Okay, yeah. Watch them in order because they're all over the place on the timeline. I got so confused with the timeline. I just said, man, just go with it. But the first film, of course, which what is it called? The Fast and the Furious?
The Fast and the Furious.
2001, we meet Dom Torretto and his family. His I don't know, she wasn't his lady love at the time. I guess they hadn't really made it official. Was it official?
Him and Letty? Oh yeah, they weren't married, but
but when I say it wasn't official, like you saw as the franchise gone on, there was some public displays of affection. Yeah. There weren't a lot of PDAs in film 1. It was just Dom was brooding and he was alpha male, blah.
Yeah.
So we meet him, and then we meet Brian. Well, his name wasn't Brian O'Connor, but he was deep undercover. He was Brian, start with an S, some name he came up with, some kid out of Arizona, right? But we later find out that Brian's an undercover cop who's trying to bring Dom Torretto and his crew down. And then there's of course, at the end of the film, these 2 race. I don't really want to spoil it because I want people to go back and rewatch it.
Wait, stop.
It came out 24 years ago. 20 some odd years ago. Pretty much, did Brian win the race at the end? No. I thought Brian won the race because they went in midair, so we never saw the finish line, so we don't know who finished first.
And he got hit by the train.
Well, no, he got hit. But I'm saying they had crossed the finish line.
Right.
And he got hit by the train. So his car, of course, we're talking about he, as in Dom Toretto's car, gets wrecked. Instead of taking him in, Ryan gives him the keys to his car, and Dom speeds away, which begins in the second Too Fast, Too Furious, now directed by John Singleton, that Ryan is no longer a cop. Am I correct?
That is correct. He has abandoned his role as a police officer.
Now I'm kind of confused because I see him working with the police a lot.
He's a fugitive.
Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, but they bring him in, and give him an assignment, and he's working. And then we meet Roman Pierce, played by Tyrese Gibson. So the two of them and Eva Mendes. I guess Eva Mendes is probably one of the few characters who could have done some multiple stuff with it. I guess she just opted out because I'm sure they asked her.
I mean, she did have her one little cameo.
That's right. She cameo. An in-scene cameo with The Rock.
Right.
What was that? Was that 5, right?
No, 4.
Okay, I'm not really sure. The cameo was about Letty
being alive.
So that had to be 5.
That had to be 5.
Yeah, that was 5. So, because I've been watching them, so I'm getting confused too, because I don't know which one is which. All right, so we see in 2, we get the Brian Roman story, which probably leads to what Shireen and Charles are talking about is the pivotal moment in the franchise, right? We now are in America, and there's a kid, I forget what his name is. Lucas Black is the star, but he's a street racer.
Oh, you're talking about Sean Boswell is what his name was in the film.
It was Sean?
Sean.
Okay.
Sean.
So Sean Boswell is a street racer, little, young kid who's kind of undisciplined. And he gets into trouble, beats a guy in a race, wrecks a car. The 2 other kids are given a slap on the wrist and sent on their way. He's run out of strikes, so they send him to Japan to live with his father.
Right.
He goes to Japan, and of course, he meets Bow Wow. Bow Wow's pretty cool. So his first couple of movies was all about hip hop. So you had, we met Ludacris in the second episode. I mean, the second film. We meet Bow Wow in this film, right? So Bow Wow and Sean, whatever his character's name is, they run into some brash Japanese kid named DK, which stands for Drift King. And now there's this character named Han who takes an interest in Sean. And I'm going to teach this kid how to drift. You represent me now, kid. So I really watched this movie yesterday. And it was really interesting. And I kind of sort of understand what you're saying because Han's character does represent, he's probably the first really connectable character in any of these first 3 movies.
Right.
Because you really don't really connect with Dom or Brian or Roman or Tej and any of these other characters, but you do connect with Han. Han is kind of quiet. You see him, we find out later on why he does what he does. He's always eating, he's putting stuff in his mouth, but he's real chilled, right? And I loved how the first time he lends Sean his car to drift, and Sean just tears his car up. And instead of being irate, Han just comes over and goes, "Don't leave town." So I love that about his character. As Charles and Shireen both said, he dies at the end of that film. Like inexplicably, for no reason, they just kill the character. And you go, damn, that's it. And of course, his death now connects the universe because we see Dom come to Japan because Han was family.
Yeah.
Han was family. So so I get that, right? Back on the 4th film, now the cast returns. We get Letty, Dom, Brian, Mia, all these cats are back. These guys are out hijacking. They're doing what they're doing. I forget who the villain was because the villain kind of, to me, just outside of this film, the villain is just kind of non-plus. I don't even remember who the villain in 4 was. Oh, was it?
That was Braga. Braga was in.
Yeah, 4. Braga. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Which
leads to my favorite film in the franchise, number 5. These guys are on the run. They're over in Brazil. The whole crew is back. And suddenly there's this hard-nosed agent, Hobbs, played by The Rock, who comes in and he's trying to take Dom down. And I'm telling you, if you track from that film to now, the arc of this story for me is 5 on. Now, I understand that 3 is a huge part. You're right.
Yeah.
Because we keep going back to 3, and there's a lot of things that happen with the Han character that even resonates in this last
film. Yeah.
In this last film, you're like, wait, hold on a second. So 2 things about Fast and Furious franchise. Shane, are you listening? 2 things. 1, everybody who opposes Dom, usually ends up joining the family. They usually fight them, and then they're like, "Yeah, I'm down with you."
Yeah.
So nobody ever leaves a franchise if they're alive because they always end up working with Dom. And then the second thing that happens in all these movies, nobody ever dies. Like they die, but then inexplicably they come back like movies later. You're like, but I thought he was dead. I thought she was dead.
I'm not talking. I'm not talking.
Am I lying?
There have been people who die and stayed dead. Elena's dead.
You sure? I never saw her body. I don't know if she's dead.
She got blasted in the head.
Hold on
man.
a second.
She got blasted in the head.
I saw a plane go down in this movie. Are those characters dead? They are not dead. Don't even play. They're gonna introduce a plot point and go, "Oh man, you know they all jumped out before the plane crashed." Like, really? Nobody dies in the Fast and Furious franchise.
Lance Alonso's character died. I mean, he was a bad guy.
You sure?
Yeah, I think he crushed him with a car.
Man, they could have had some surgery and they could bring him back. He could be like a robot, a half man, half robot. He could be a humanoid in the next
Man,
one.
we thought Deckard Shaw was dead. He came back.
Nobody dies in this franchise. I'm just trying to tell you. All right, so we're going to review this movie in a moment before we get to reviews. Now, you notice, in solidarity with the writer's strike, normally I would write a script. We're not writing scripts these days.
That's just called lazy. That's not solidarity.
No, sir. I am a writer. I wouldn't write. Do I write a script?
You usually write a script.
Have we had a script in the last several weeks?
No.
Okay, then.
I think, but that's not. We'll say that. We'll say that in solidarity.
I'm in solidarity, man. You can call it what you want to, because I had more than ample enough time to write a script if I wanted to.
Wait a minute. Does that mean that you won't accept things that I write? If I write something and I give it to you.
Why are you writing?
Because
my point exactly. All right. So as I was saying, my point exactly. This week, I just want to review one thing. And we're not going to spend a lot of time on it because we do have to get to Fast 10. On HBO this Saturday night is the documentary Love to Love You, Donna Summer.
My approach to singing, I approach it as an actress. I don't approach it as a singer. And it's really acting. I'm not trying to be me.
I came out with Georgia with the which just changed the face of music for a while.
She was the first female Black artist to ever have a video on MTV.
She was complicated and struggled with her fame.
Donna was trying to navigate being a mother.
And the responsibility of that and the weight of that is immense. There's too much fire in me.
A lot of her life revolved around privacy and secrecy. We would find out things by reading newspaper articles that they had clipped out and hidden in places.
Sing it loud.
She works hard for the money, so hard for it, honey. I work hard for my money, so you better treat me right. All right.
Your creativity is a never-ending process.
The process.
Which I must admit, man, I was around and I'm of age when Donna Summer's career started and her arc, her best years.
Yeah.
And there was so much I learned watching this documentary.
Really?
Oh my God, man. I had no idea. So for those at home who, I don't know, who are Shane's age and who don't know who Donna Summer is. Shane, do you know who Donna Summer is?
Yes, he does.
Do you know the breadth of Donna Summer's career?
Yes, he does.
No. Okay, I'm asking this question for a reason.
We had a little discussion before we started.
So okay.
He knows.
Okay, so I was saying, so the documentary is produced. Black Reel Award voting Academy member and Oscar winner Roger Ross Williams and her daughter Brooklyn Sedano are the two directors of this documentary.
Okay.
So by virtue that the family is heavily involved, there is a lot of footage never before seen of Donna Summer that is featured in this film.
All right.
Now, early this year, we talked about the two movies that are already on my worst of the year list. And one of them was the something gold movie about Neil Bogart. Remember that?
Yeah.
I forget the title of it. Don't worry about it.
It was terrible.
Watch this. If you're watching this now, don't even sweat it. Trust me, it's on my list at the very end of the year. We will talk about it again and not in glowing terms. But anyway, Neil Bogart has a small piece in here because the documentary starts off with what most people would know, probably one of the most popular songs she ever made, which was the 1975 song "Love to Love You, Baby,"
which also is the name of the movie.
And for people, and I think I've told the story before, but if you've never heard it, when I was 12 when this thing came out, my parents, every time that thing would play on the radio, my parents would shut the radio off or send me out the room. I was not allowed to listen to "Love to Love You, Baby" when I was a kid because it was literally pornographic. It still is pornographic. Matter of fact, it's so pornographic, I challenge you to this day, outside of WAP, what other song has come out in the last 30 or 40 years that every time you hear it, you go, man, we shouldn't be listening to that? What other song have you ever heard that's like that, like "Love to Love You, Baby"?
I mean, I joked with Sean, with our producer before the show. I was like, can you imagine the engineers when they were recording this one? They were like, we need you to do another take.
If you two wasn't going to block the show.
I'm not finished yet.
Look, if you two wasn't going to block the show because we played it, I swear to you, it would play underneath like the last 20 minutes of the show. Man, I remember, and so it's funny because I was talking to our program director, Max Myrick, and he was like, man, did you ever hear the story about how they made that song? I said, it's urban legend. I've heard a lot of stories about
real.
So pretty much what I will say about the documentary, man, is that it kind of is a paint by the numbers, telling the story of this young woman who, of course, had this amazing voice. And much like a lot of these documentaries, we find out she's from the church. She was a heck of a singer. She moves away to Germany and finds her tribe more so, meets her first husband, whose last name was spelled Sommer. And when she started recording, they made him a clerical mistake and called her Summer, which stuck. That became her name, even though her name was Summer, Summer, not Summer. She comes to America and, she's still over in Europe, and she meets Giorgio Moroder, right? Famous disco producer. She does a demo for a song, which becomes "Love to Love You, Baby." The only reason why they kept the song is because Giorgio liked her vocals, which I could pretty much understand why. The song is initially, Shane, a 3-minute song. Neil Bogart gets the record at Casablanca. He takes it home and he's having a party, which is in the movie. And he plays the song like 5 times. And every time he plays it, people go, man, play that song again. So he looks up and goes, this record's too short. It needs to be longer. So he asked the guys to make a 20-minute version. They made a 17-minute version, but then made a 7-minute version that played on the radio, but a 17-minute version. Yeah. This song was so popular at its height that they would have shows at midnight, and the way they marketed it was like, tune in for 20 minutes of love. And people would listen to "Love to Love You, Baby." So the song sold, I want to say, I'm not sure if these numbers are correct. I think the single either sold 1 or 2 million copies, and the album sold 1 million copies.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So Donna Summer, man.
Back in the 70s.
In the 70s, mid-70s. So now you're looking at a situation where she goes on and has a string of hits. Heaven Knows, Bad Girls, Hot Stuff. I mean, like all these songs during the disco era, right? So you think when disco ends at the end of the 70s, when her hottest year was 79, she still she works hard for the money. I mean, Donna Summer, man, enough is enough. I mean, Donna Summer, I was surprised at the amount of hits that Donna Summer had. I really was. I was like, oh, dang, she did make all those songs. So it's a really good documentary. And all I would end with is that the final scene is literally like a gut punch. It reminds me, if you remember the song Memory Lane from Minnie Riperton.
Yeah.
When she's singing and kind of pleading at the end that she knows she's about to die. I don't want to go. That's what you get at the end of Love to Love You, Baby. I was like, wow, I had to watch it like 3 times. I was like, ooh, that must have been hard for the kids to watch that. The way, because when you watch the end and she singing and then she starts talking over the record, like a message, it gives me chills now even saying it. Like, ooh, really well done. But Saturday night, love to love you, Donna Summer. Please check it out. I highly recommend that one. So now let's talk about Fast 10. We got about 6 minutes, man. Let's get this.
6 minutes.
6 minutes, man. So this is the 10th film in the Fast and Furious franchise. Of course, you know, I don't even need to read down. I mean, there's so many people in this film. I mean, the easiest way to say this, Charles and Shane, there are 6 actors that are in this film that recently have either been in the MCU or the DCU. I don't know, Peacemaker, Groot, Captain Marvel, Aquaman, Wonder Woman. All of these characters are in the Fast and Furious universe.
Yeah.
Also, Atomic Blonde and the Old Guard star is in this franchise. Is in this franchise. Did you ever see a movie called Reds?
Yeah.
With Bruce Willis, Morgan Freeman, Helen Mirren. Helen Mirren's in this movie.
Yeah. In other words, another graphic novel movie. The
Transporter is in this movie.
Transporter is in this
Jason Statham is in this movie.
Yeah.
Am I leaving anybody out? Am I leaving anybody out? Black. Well, we're not supposed to. Well, yeah. That was Shane. I didn't say that. Watch this. Look.
But you said Wonder Woman.
Oh, damn, I did. Oh, damn. I spoiled it. All right. It's hell. Wonder Woman and Black Adam even show up in this movie.
I mean, Brian O'Connor even shows up in the movie. So, I mean...
I told you nobody dies, man. Nobody dies.
Nobody dies.
But pretty much this movie starts off, and I had so much fun with it, I can't even remember how it started off. How did it start off, Charles?
Oh, wow.
I don't remember.
From the very beginning? They were playing with Boyd, teaching him how to drift. They were showing him how to drift.
No. But this is really funny that both of us are like, yeah, how did it start? All I know is once it got started, it was like a snowball coming downhill. It was unstoppable. But man,
we go back to drifting though. But
we go back to drifting. We go back a little B. And then suddenly, of course, there's always something that somebody's done something somewhere in the world that upsets the balance of nature. And now this story goes back to Fast 5. So if you remember Fast 5 at the end, when Dom and Brian stole the safe and were riding it through the streets of Rio de Janeiro, which I think is really clever. There were 2 characters that were there in the room that we didn't see in 5 who were there, who were very much affected by what happened. And one of those characters wants revenge. And this is probably the most formidable villain who's ever shown up in the Fast and Furious franchise. I think that John Cena gives literally, and I'm not saying this just to say it, this is true. He gives almost a Joker-esque performance. Like his level of lunacy is almost Heath Ledger-like.
You mean a Momoa? You said John Cena. But you meant Jason Momoa.
My apologies, John Cena. Jason Momoa, Aquaman, gives wow. All I can say is wow as a performance, man. He is so over the top, but he's also so smart and ruthless. Oh my God, man. So the way he gets people to do the things he needs to do, it is absolutely genius the way they wrote that character, man. And you talking about somebody who chomps in the screen? That dude is chomping into that.
Every time you see him. And we talk about a maniacal performance. What Jason Momoa does in this film, like you said, we haven't seen since Heath Ledger. When we saw the Joker, what he was doing and how he manipulated and how he just had fun being evil. This Jason Momoa in this film is just incredibly over the top and delicious. I loved every piece of it. And there are times when you laugh at him and then you're scared of him at the same time. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Man, we're running out of time, man. And I feel so bad that we really can't deep dive into this movie. But This is a film that has several stunts that are just absolutely ridiculous to watch. It's like not even remotely close to being anything that's even attached to like what humans should be able to do with cars, and they pull it off and hit twice. But it is so much fun. Matter of fact, if I can get a ticket tonight, I would be back in there to watch it again. Because my first comment when I walked out was, when are they screening this thing again? And she goes, it comes out Thursday. I went, damn. Because I want to see it again. But yeah, man, this movie is absolutely amazing. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. What would you give it as a grade?
I gave it a B plus, as a matter of fact.
I would agree with you. I give it a B plus as well.
Mm-hmm.
So as we tell you guys in closing, because we really are running out of time, please see something good at the movies, man. Please, please, please sit down and watch Fast 10, Fast X, Malcolm X, Fast 10.
Love to love you.
And also love to love you, Donna Summer, man. You can't go wrong. On behalf of Charles Kirkland and thanking Shireen Nicole, we are out, man. We will see you guys next week, man. Enjoy your time. Peace.
Peace.